Let's see. It says we're live. Go to my feed here. Yes, we are live. Got a few people looking right now. So, so hello here. We have the amazing and comparable Laura Triplett of Atlantic Coast Mortgage here with us today on this live, and we are here to give the people some information about the hot topic in the streets today about loan forbearance. So what we'll do is I'll let Laura go ahead and introduce herself and tell her story and a great company that she represents, and then we'll get right into it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, of course, I'm Laura Triplett. I'm with Atlantic Coast Mortgage. My office is in Dumfries, Virginia, and just down the street on 234. I'm the branch manager there, and we have been serving the Prince William County and the surrounding DC market for quite some time. I've personally been a resident of this county since 1972, so very, very familiar with the area and very familiar with, unfortunately, very familiar with forbearance.
All right. Okay. So I'm sharing this on my business page as well. So just to get more people to see it. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Let's explain what is actually loan forbearance. What does it mean?
Well, just like any kind of loan forbearance, it just means that you're going to request that the lender put some payments on hold. Whether they decide to just put them on hold indefinitely or they add them back to the back of the loan. That's all negotiated. And it's a big hot topic right now because of what's going on with this COVID. A lot of people out of work and they need the help. So it's good that it's available right now.
Okay. Now, so does that mean, you talked about like whatever the terms are, but does that mean your loan is extended? I know that when you sign your papers and buy your dream home, you have a set number of payments over a set number of years. Does that mean your loan is extended any, or what does that mean?
Well, I mean, it could mean that, but no, more than likely not. More than likely what it means is that they'll just put those payments on hold. And depending on your servicing lender, it could be put on hold and added to the back of the loan. It could be put on hold, and then when you're back to work, you're going to make those payments over a period of time. It's really going to depend on you contacting the lender. It's also going to depend on what kind of loan you have, because although this has been announced, it's not the forbearance, automatic forbearance is not available on every kind of loan. It must be a loan that is federally backed, which means it has to be owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or FHA or VA.
Okay.
So it's not everybody that's eligible for this.
Okay. Now, so I understand that there are different like time limits or whatever. So like, let's say you got a forbearance for 3 months or 6 months or whatever. When that forbearance is up, does that mean that that full balance that the payments were put on hold is due, or how does that work?
Well, again, it's going to depend on your situation. So you know how you qualify for a mortgage when you buy a house, you also qualify for forbearance. Okay. So they're going to look at the reason I say I mean the servicing lender. You're going to contact them. Very, very important for you to contact them the minute you feel like you can't make your payment. Okay. And you're going to make a little bit of a mini application. And in that application, you're going to put the reasons why you can't make the payment. You know, what if it's due to being out of work, which is the majority of the people applying right now. You know, when you think you might be going back to work, will you be going back to a fixed salary? Will you be going back to a variable salary? All of those things are taken into consideration. Debt ratios are calculated to see, can you afford, to make that extra payment over a period of time? So it's all, again, with the lender. But most lenders are set up and prepared to forgive, or not forgive, but to put into forbearance at least 4 payments.
Okay. All right. So let's say the forbearance period is over and you had 3 months or whatever you negotiated, right? And it's time to make that first payment. what happens if, for whatever reason, you're not able to, or it's late, or what kind of ramifications happens at that point?
Well, that's the reason why the agreement up front is very important, because once you make an agreement that you are going to make payments, you have to make them, or otherwise they will be reported late.
Okay.
Now, again, with some servicing lenders, they're going to take into consideration that this is an ever-evolving situation. Okay. So you may have thought you were going to go back to work, but then they've extended the stay-at-home order. Okay.
Okay.
So if you miss a payment in the temporary measure, they are allowing these lenders to report a missed payment without effect to your credit score. So
Okay.
it's like a not a good reporting, but it's not a bad reporting.
Okay.
And in addition to that, the free annual credit report.com, that the credit bureau that provides your credit scores and they're offering this on a weekly basis for free
Okay.
to consumers, where they used to only offer it once a year.
Okay.
So signing up for that, to review your credit report is very important, because you want to make sure that whatever you've agreed to, the lender is reporting it that way.
Okay.
When you go, go to not make those payments.
Okay. Now, is a forbearance like the same? Can it be thought of in the same sense as a deferment, or is there a difference in that?
Well, a deferment, it is a little bit similar in the fact that you're making payments later. You're modifying the terms of your initial agreement. A deferment, you may have gone into it, knowing, like on a student loan, for example, while you're in school, the payments are deferred, obviously, because you're not working.
Right.
Whereas a forbearance, that was never a decision that was made up front, when the loan was made.
Mhm.
So it's a modification to the initial terms of the
Okay.
loan. And as a result, that's why you have to apply for it. That's why you have to have the lender approve it. It's very important, if you just got a mortgage like last month and now you're out of work, try to make that first payment if at all possible, because if you miss that first payment and then you go and ask for this forbearance, this modification to the original agreement that you signed when you signed for your mortgage,
Right.
You may be ineligible to do anything, whether it be, getting the missed payments reported without effect to your credit score,
Mhm.
whether it be a future refinance, whether any of those things that might help you protect your credit, you may become ineligible by not contacting that servicing lender. So you really need to make sure you contact them. The servicing lenders have already beefed up their staff.
Mhm.
They are already expecting these phone calls. And in the larger servicing lenders, they're already, doing automatic things, where you
Okay.
don't, have to wait,
Right.
for a long period of time. One thing I'm really super happy to see this time around, because we did go through this back in 2008.
Mhm.
The mortgage industry is ready. They are ready for this. They know that when we come out of this, the other end of this virus, the housing industry is in great health, and we're going back to great health. It is going to get better, and it continues to get better every day. Just, this is a period in time right now where we're just trying to keep people afloat, basically.
Okay. So I know that when you ask for the forbearance, you're looking to, quote unquote, have to be able to miss some payments because of whatever your work situation is, right? Um, is a forbearance or a refi a better option if you're just looking to kind of maybe have a little bit of leeway, 30 to 60 days before you have to make another payment? Like, is a refi a better option versus forbearance if you can do it?
Yes, I am so glad you asked that question, because a lot of people think that a forbearance is their only option, or it's a great option or better option than a refinance. The way I look at it is, look, if you can make your payments, you need to make your payments. Okay. You need to make your payments, because the more people that take advantage of this forbearance program, the more the mortgage industry is at risk for lending in the future. And that means for refinances. One of the reasons why the federal government is keeping the mortgage, interest rates so low, and they're doing that by becoming the purchaser of
Right.
these mortgage-backed securities. And just so you know, rates should be low through the end of this year.
Good.
But in some cases, doing a cash out refinance is a great option. It could be
Okay.
a great option for many reasons: to lower your payment, to take a little bit of cash out if you didn't have that nest egg that you were hoping to have, when you're out of a job. If you have the ability to qualify to make a payment, but you just need a little bit of extra, money during this time, a cash out refinance could be a very, very good option. As a matter of fact, we're seeing a big rise in cash out refinancing right now.
Okay. All right. So I guess now we went through a number of questions. I'm about at the end of my questions here, but in your professional opinion, being on the mortgage side and being one of the best in the DMV area, what do you recommend for homeowners who are really not truly affected by COVID? I mean, they're blessed to still be able to go to work. They're blessed to still have their same level of income. What do you suggest for them? Because I know some people may say, well, you know what, I'll do this forbearance and I can have, not have to make a mortgage payment for 2 months or something like that. I mean, what do you suggest for them?
Well, if you just want to take advantage of not having a mortgage payment for 2 months, you can do that with a refinance. I mean, it's not really supposed to be the purpose of your refinance. I certainly wouldn't refinance just for that reason. But if you're, at a higher rate of interest, and the rates right now are in the low threes, in some cases even lower, depending on the kind of loan, and it makes sense for you to refinance or maybe go to a shorter term, or maybe you're in a shorter term and now you maybe want to go back to a longer term, or maybe you've been sitting in your house for 30 days going, wow, there's a lot of deferred maintenance around here. I need to take care of some stuff before I go back to work. Those are all great reasons to refinance. And I would say that, in those types of situations where it makes sense, we can close a loan at the beginning of the month and you could skip 2 payments by not making, the payment for the beginning of that month. Plus you don't make a payment the next month. But again, I wouldn't refinance just for that reason, because there is costs associated with refinancing. But for a lot of people, that's been a great, great benefit. I've had a couple of landlords that have called and said, look, I've got, some renters in there and I just want to help them out. I want to give them a couple months free rent, so that they don't feel like, they're stressed. And, we've been able to refinance those properties. To help with, being a good neighbor. I mean, we all have to help each other out during this time. I think this is really a good time. It's a wake up call. Those people that have been living from paycheck to paycheck, or maybe they've been living a little large. I think it's time to really look at your budget. Take a look at some things you can cut back, maybe a side gig, sell some stuff, those kinds of things. Really take a look at what you're spending your money on. And if you're not in a situation where you have 6 months of pay, set aside, in a liquid savings account, this is the time to put that plan together, to build that savings for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty much all the questions that I had for you. I really appreciate your time. We're going to just do like a quick recap, those things that you can do, like, let's say if you realize that you're going to be crunched for funds, or not able to make your mortgage payment, what's one of the first things that you kind of need to do in this period of COVID-19?
Well, I mean, definitely, one thing you want to look at, just as a side part, it's not just mortgages that are offering relief right now. I think that people really need to look at what do you need to do to keep a roof over your head and keep transportation, so you can go back to your job. But, if there's a car payment or there's a student loan, student loans right now are automatically in deferment right now for everybody. So don't start focusing on your student loan. This is not the time for that. Just really focus at, what does it you need to pay to keep things moving with the roof over your head and transportation. And then, call the other lenders. I know that some of the local credit unions and banks are offering, 2 months skip your car payment, or, maybe a car payment. So I mean, definitely get in touch with those lenders as well. Make those the second in line to your home. I know a lot of the utility companies have been sending out notices. They're not going to turn off electricity due to non-payment. But be careful, because I've been home now for about 30 days and I've been getting a lot of fraud phone calls and fraud emails. There's a lot of fraud phishing around right now. Nobody's going to reach out to you and say, hey, we're going to give you something free, or, they're expecting you to reach out to them. So, if you know, especially an elderly person, a lot of times they fall victim to that.
Right.
You know, make sure that you check in on people that
Yeah.
might be at risk
Yeah.
for those types of phone calls. And, you know, there's a great website, the federal government, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They have put a very nice website together that has all of the legit information that you can depend on. You can get to that website several different ways. You can Google CFPB, or you can go to the White House website and it'll have a link to get there. So you don't need to know the web address. And go on to that website because all the links are there about how to, you know, what questions you should ask your lender, you know, what kind of programs are out there. But they're in the very big caption right in the front. It says, if you do not need assistance, make your payment. Please
Good.
make your payment. This is the time to be a good citizen right now. Okay. And just because your neighbor's getting the advantages of, you know, something that they might need doesn't mean that everybody should be getting it. The
Mhm.
more people that don't take advantage of this forbearance program, the better, because it is really, really hurting the credit markets a little bit right now. And it's getting to the point where, you know, if people keep doing it, you know, we may not be able to lend to everybody. So we have to be very careful about who's taking advantage of the program.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, Laura, I thank you again for your time and your expertise. Can you also let the people know where they can reach you, how they can get in contact with you here in the DMV for all their mortgage and lending needs?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I have a web page too, just like you do on Facebook at teamtriplett.com.
Mhm.
So you can reach me there. You can also, on that website is all my contact email and phone number. Or you can go on Facebook and look up Laura Triplett at Atlantic Coast Mortgage and like my page. I've been posting a lot of the links that I've been telling you about on my page, trying to get the word out.
Okay. All right. And then I'm Breon McDonald with eXp Realty here in the DMV. So there are no crazy questions, just only solutions. And we're here to help you out here during COVID-19, buy, sell, rent, all your real estate needs. We can help you out. Laura, I thank you again. And we'll have this posted on both of our pages here so you can go back and review it later. All right.
Awesome.
Talk to you
Thank
soon, Laura. Take
you.
care.
Okay, you too.
All right.